Hello, welcome to my channel. For those of you who are new to GLORIA'S space, it's a platform where we can give advice and tips about nursing, self-care, fashion, lifestyle, training, and vlogs. In today's video, we'll be discussing how we coped in the lockdown. The COVID has thrown us into upheavals we've never seen in our lifetime, and I hope never to see again. I know it's still happening in some areas of the world, but in London, we were just overwhelmed. So today, to discuss how we coped during the COVID, during the lockdown, are some lovely ladies, family and friends. And I will start by asking them to introduce themselves and say one fun thing about themselves. Can we start with you, Margaret?
Oh, okay. So hi, my name is Margaret. What can I say about myself? I'm just a very funny, quirky, mad person. I have a great sense of humor and I like laughing a lot. That's me.
Yeah, thank you. Are you, Jennifer?
All right, my name is Jennifer. What about myself? I love to dance, but I can't sing to save my life. I've heard myself sing, so yeah, my family makes fun of us, especially my little sister.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay, my name is Marian. I'm a mother of 3. I'm quiet by nature. I love spending time with my family and friends.
And my name is Gloria. Well, what can I say about myself? I'm a registered nurse of over 16 years, and I've managed services in mental health and been a clinical lead as well. So what I can say is that I love dancing, I love singing. I sing everywhere. My family are always making fun of me. However, not one single lyric. I can't remember any of the lyrics. I just make them up as we go along. So we're talking about the lockdown. It has been a terrible period. Fortunately, in London, we're out of the lockdown. Can I just ask you, if I start with you, Marion, what were your thoughts when you thought about COVID-19? What went through your mind?
To be quite honest, I first heard everybody talking about it in late December. And in fact, my husband was talking about it a lot. You know, it was on the news and it was something that was there, but I just didn't take it seriously at the time. And then obviously, after a very good friend of mine who had lupus passed away, and that sort of coincided with the time when, it was, becoming prominent in the news. And then I thought, this is quite concerning. And then obviously, when we were told that we're going to be locked down, that's when I realized that this thing is serious. And fortunately for me, I wasn't alone when, the government announced that they were going to lock us all down. I had a son and a daughter here with me. And so it was nice to be with family. And I think the first thing that came to mind when I realized how serious the situation is was, my family. That was what I was thinking about, my family and my friends. And it was very worrying, very sad, seeing people losing their lives, and you just start thinking about, what is important in life and what isn't. Absolutely. And the importance of your loved ones and being around them. And unfortunately for me, my husband isn't here, and I haven't seen him for 6 months because of the lockdown. And just praying that a vaccine will be found.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Marion. Can we have your thoughts?
My thought, I really didn't take it seriously in the beginning because I felt that this was something that was very far away, somewhere in the Far East, China, nothing to do with us here in our little bubble of England, or Europe. So I really didn't take it serious at all. It's only when I started noticing the number of people dying abroad, especially in China, and then they started talking about it here, whereby, people are now beginning to get infected. But because at the time, it wasn't so close as in anybody I knew, or, you know, it didn't seem close enough. So initially I wasn't worried about it at all, because I just thought it's something that's far away. And I never thought that we'll not be able to sort it out, if you like, sort it out.
I know.
Quickly.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, of
in Europe,
course.
we already sort these things out. And why is this
Yeah.
one taking so long? So really, initially I wasn't bothered.
Yeah.
And then it came too close. Then I really became worried, because obviously my son was at uni. So I panicked about the fact that he may not be looking after himself, being at uni, you know, hanging out, young lad. So I then made a decision to go and pick him up, whether he liked it or not, so that he was home in time for the lockdown.
Of course, yeah, it's very important.
Yeah.
And Jennifer, what were your thoughts? Thank you, Margaret.
So like Auntie Margaret said, when I don't, this is one thing my mom says, just so you all know, Gloria Chapel is my mother. You know, so she, you know, we have a thing about, I don't spend my time, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's a personal choice. There's a pro to and a negative to it. So I don't listen to the news as much as I should. But there's a reason why. I just don't want to feed my mind with so many negative things going out there. So I try to kind of not listen to it that much. And she always make this joke that if they tell us to start running in London, that I will not know. Then I say to her, thank God you are my mother, and you're here, and you will never see. You know, so when it started happening in December, right? You know, as Auntie Margaret rightfully stated, I thought, okay, I heard about it a little bit. You know, like going on Facebook, you will see the messages come up. So I thought, okay, this is in Asia. It has nothing to do with us. You know, then the more I see it, you know, I hear about a lot of people dying in Asia, and it started to concern me more from a compassionate aspect of it, but never that it would come to Europe. Yeah, exactly. You know, then from there, it then came to Italy, you know, and France and and Spain, and people were dying. These are the lives, people are dying, you know. Yeah. So that's when it concerned me, and that was the last day at work. It was in March, and that, you know, they told us about the lockdown, that it's likely coming, and the concern for people were more of the restriction to just getting out the house instead of lives being lost. So initially I didn't take it serious, but when I saw the number of lives in Asia, then coming closer to home, Europe, you know, and then during the lockdown, you know, I would go on Google every day to see what's going on, and the number of deaths kept increasing and creeping up. I'm like, Jesus. And not just that they're dying, the way that they're dying, that their loved ones can't even be there with them at the hospital. You know, so that's what really killed my heart. And, you know, just trying to make sure my daughter being in school at the time, and then they stopped school and all of that. So it wasn't, at first I wasn't serious about it, but when I saw the lives being lost, it was something that it still is painful. You know, I'm grateful to God that we're still here. We're still praying for those that lost loved ones, for God to comfort them.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Jennifer, my daughter. Yes, I think for me, I went into a really anxious period when I heard about COVID, because I work in the healthcare industry. So the anxiety hit the roof. You know, when you see somebody, you think actually that this person is all right, but the person is not really all right. You know, that I think that is one thing we know. A lot of us, we hide our feelings, you know, and it has to do with your mental well-being. So for me, I was extremely anxious. My thoughts were, my goodness, people are losing their lives. Like everybody has said, people are losing their lives. Does it mean that I may go back to work and never come back? Or I may go see my family and friends and I won't see them the next day? Or what about other people losing their lives, healthcare workers? I mean, it was terrifying.
It's very frightening.
Yes, it was frightening. I was not sleeping well at all. I wasn't eating well. I just went into a very, very anxious period. But having said that, we're here today and we're very, very thankful to God. So that, I think we've talked about how it made us feel quite anxious, isn't it? Yes. Yeah. And the thing is, what action did you take, Margaret, to keep yourself and your family safe?
Well, I think the action was taken by my darling husband. Because he basically brought together a new hygiene regime where it was almost unlivable.
Yeah.
If you come into our house by the porch,
Yes.
we've got every type of bleach or disinfectant or everything else. No shoes coming in. Shoes have to be sprayed at the door. We were spraying letters, parcels. We were spraying postmen as they were approaching our door. We were not allowed to go out.
I know.
But
Yeah.
it was just. I think we're just trying to survive. While you're trying to protect your family, you will do everything possible to make sure that everything's covered. So I think I didn't have to worry. I have to say, I didn't have to worry about that at all. My husband just put everything in order. We had a routine to follow. If you dared, well, we didn't go out for weeks, but if you had to go out, because we had, then coming back in, there was a routine of how to get back in the front door.
Absolutely.
Shoes outside, spray, blah, 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 blah. Sanitizer, you run upstairs, straight to the bathroom, shower. I remember showering one day 4 times a day because I happened to go out 3 times or 4 times. So I think we were just being extra careful around the hygiene stuff and making sure that the kids were following the process.
Absolutely, that's great. What about you, Jennifer? What happened?
So, what did I do? So first of all, I have a 5-year-old, right? Kids touch things, they want to touch everything when they go out. So I became this militarized mom that before we get out the house, I make sure I have the gloves, I have the mask, I have the sanitizer. I'm screaming from the door, don't touch anything, don't touch anything. The only time we did go out when the lockdown started was just to go grocery shopping. That's the only thing that took us outside the house. And we would go, when we go grocery shopping, we live in an apartment, we have an elevator. I have my gloves on, I have the wipes, I have all kinds of stuff, even up until today. When we do go grocery shopping, I don't let her touch anything. We both have gloves on, but I'm the one that pick the things. And when I pick them, I still have a sanitizer in a bag on the top that, due to cross-contamination, because you touch things even with your gloves, and people are not anxious of that. They can touch themselves, forgetting that even though, despite the fact that you're wearing gloves, you might have or may have touched something that's been contaminated. So in that sense, I was extra careful because not just for me, because I also have a child, a 5-year-old. And then when we come back, it used to be a hassle because I would come back and sanitize. My mom is laughing. And everything, like before it goes in the fridge, before it goes everywhere, I would wash out. I'm still doing that, but now I wipe things. But then I would wash everything with soap. No exaggeration. So I come back from grocery shopping. It takes me another 1 hour to unpack things.
Wow.
Because I have to wash, so those are the things. COVID in on its own made me worry because more of people that are dying and the impact. But for me, it was the anxiety of the extra care that I have to take before I leave the house.
Yes.
So that's the part that affected me personally. And when we come back in the house, our shoes don't come into the living room. We put it away, and letters we don't touch if we're going for a few days. If we're going to touch it, I'm gonna wear gloves. And it was just crazy. I'm like, is this gonna be the norm? I'm still trying to figure out if this is going to be the norm. But those are the things that I had to put in place to keep us safe at home. And obviously prayer. Ultimately.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. God, faith, and prayer.
Yes, that is important. Yes. Thank you, Jennifer. What about you, Marion? How did you keep yourself safe and your family?
The thing is that I work from home. We were even before the lockdown, so I was spending a lot of time anyway on my own and at home. So I think the main challenge obviously was going shopping, food shopping, and also I experienced a bit of pavement rage on my walks.
Oh, wow.
Because of social distancing. But I think the challenge of of being able to get hold of sanitizers and masks and things in the early days, obviously that was there. But I just generally, did my shopping very early in the morning. And I go for walks when it's quiet, and I walk in areas where there are not a lot of people. And just observing what, the government, guidelines, and it's nothing really, in fact, changed for me, as I said, apart from the shopping experience, work and public transport and interacting with a lot of people. So nothing really changed for me, and I don't have young children or anybody else really to worry about. I think, okay, I had my son and my daughter, and once or twice I had to tell my son, where's your mask? And, you need to wash your hands. And I think sometimes young people are just, they forget. I think they also forget about the fact that, they are not as vulnerable to this as, as adults. I mean, not as older people, I mean, but nothing really changed as much. Okay, I found the queuing a bit frustrating in the beginning. And the queuing started much earlier on where I live than in London. When I was telling people, I remember that we're queuing outside the shops. They said, oh, really? But then that eventually happened in London. But generally, people, are sensible here. Obviously you get some people who just don't bother and come too close, or supermarket aisles when people are talking to each other. And I think that's the difficult one, because, you're trying to get past and there are two people talking to one another in a small aisle, and you need to get past to pick up something. So, but I had an appointment with at the hospital. I was a bit worried about going, obviously, because of what's happening. But other than that, just following, the guidelines, and just, believing in God that, they will find a vaccine.
I think it's the same for me, a bit of what everyone has said, because I work in healthcare, I had to go into work, not as often as I, used to do in the past, but I still had to go into work. So coming back was like an operation, actually, military precision, coming back from the door, you start removing everything you can remove, this, just to be decent. Then you put everything in the bags, then straight into the wash. I remember my daughter, Jennifer, when COVID started, I must say this, when we heard about COVID, I looked for masks all over, all over London. Eventually I ended up in this penny pound shop where I bought the builder's mask. Sorry, I'm laughing now, but it's not a laughing mask. And then,
I know.
When I think back, I bought builder's mask because I couldn't find any mask anywhere. So
it was like sanitizers, right?
Yes. It was like sanitizers. When I bought it, I came back. Jennifer visited that day because I live with my my other daughter, my little girl.
Little.
Well, she's a big girl, but all of you are little.
I know.
Exactly, no matter how old you are. So Jennifer came to visit. Then I went importantly because it was something that I had actually found, after going through Kingsbury High Road, everywhere looking. Then I eventually got that one. Then I proudly brought it out and said, I've got two for you. She looked at it and said, Mom, I love you very much, but I will never wear a mask.
So my point was like, if we have to wear, and honestly, I never thought it would get to this point.
No, honestly, that was the early days. It's just to show you how, because of my profession, I guess, I started early to look for these things. Yes, started earlier to look for it. So, keeping our family safe, that washing, going to the supermarket was really frightening because sometimes people just talk. They've forgotten that when you talk without the mask, those particles, those microorganisms are very tiny. And the thing, you're dealing with something you cannot see, something that is not visible. It's like an unseen enemy. So it was so frightening. So that we try to keep safe, if you're going out of the door, for instance, if you're going out of the door, you use tissue, bacterial wipes, hold the door before you go out. Then you sanitize yourself. Anywhere you go, you wash your hands, just generally. And the young people, like you said, all of you said, it's quite difficult to tell them that this is serious. That is the difficulty I found, until later on, everybody knew that, well, we need to keep ourselves safe, and mommy needs to be safe as well, because she's, that age group that, you know what I mean?
I don't know what you mean. I've got no idea what you mean.
The younger looking,
Well,
so that's what I can say about that. So, like you said, you are talking about things being out of stock, Marion. Toilet roll was out of stock.
Toilet roll was
paracetamol was out of stock. A lot of things were out of stock. So how did you cope during this period?
Oh my goodness. What I did was, I remember getting up really early one morning to go and buy toilet rolls. And as soon as they opened Asda, I ran in there straight to the toilet roll section. And when I came home, my son said to me, "What are you doing with all this toilet paper?" That was before it became a real problem.
Yeah.
And I couldn't get hold of sanitizers, and then I got all the wipes I could find in Lidl.
Yeah.
All the antibacterial wipes to wipe the doors, to wipe everything down. And but it was just, oh my goodness.
Yeah. What about you, Margaret? How did you get on with that?
Well, we started setting an alarm for the toilet roll, because we had a couple of times we went and we couldn't get any.
Yeah,
so
that is true. Yeah.
We set an alarm. So I remember one time being there at 5:30 in the morning, because one of the workers in Asda said to me, "Get here for 5:30 in the morning, because that's when they offload the lorries."
Yeah.
So I set an alarm, and I did wake up early. Yeah, and I did go and get some. And the helpful thing is that obviously my husband would also go and try and get some. So both of us would be on journeys to try and get whatever it is that was missing: toilet paper, sanitizer, everything else. I used all my network where I work. So we never run out of anything.
Right.
This is just, it's crazy, but we actually never then did run out of anything. So I think it's knowing when the shops open, what time they offload the lorries. We used to look on the computer to see where friends would say, right, at the moment there's so and so in Asda. On Facebook, everybody would say, go to Hendon, they've just delivered. Everybody would drive down and,
I know what you said.
So the good thing I always say, I have a mother that will send me a text. Because so I'm highly faithful that way. So realistically, when I buy tissue, I always buy the big packs, right? That's usually how I buy the tissue. But things like sanitizers and stuff, I didn't really take it serious. So I'm at work one day, she sends me a message like, okay, there's the possibility that there may be a lockdown. Do you have sanitizer? Do you have tissue? All these things. So where I work, obviously we're not all working from home. There's what is it called? There's booths, just as you're walking to my workplace, to my office. So I stopped in there one day to buy sanitizer. So I just bought one little thing. I never really did take this serious, if I'm being frank. So when she kept pestering me, out of love, not that I'm not taking so I go back to this place, right, to buy sanitizers. There was none left. Not even one left. So now I'm starting to kind of minimize, be very careful with the little I have. So then toilet roll, I did have a stock at home, but obviously I needed to buy more. So I went to Asda one evening, nothing. Absolutely not even one left.
I know
there
it
was
was
no toilet, there was no water, there was no bread. Like the aisles were like, something had just, some kind of alien came and just
terrible panic buying.
It was crazy. My friend even from the US sent me this video. Mom, I sent it to you. Walmart of all places.
Yes.
The aisles were empty. When I say empty, not even one item. Not one item were left on some of the aisles. So, every time I go, and then my mother would wake up in the morning, early in the morning, five something, and go and stand on a line or in a queue. Obviously, if she buys something, she'll buy for her daughter. So that's how I stocked up on. Because
You're
I
so
go
lucky.
to, I'm highly favored, my dear, because I can't take this five-year-old out
Yeah,
so
no,
early
yeah.
in the morning.
Yeah.
Yes.
Obviously, at the time, there wasn't lockdown. We're still going to work. So I relied, as we all do, relied on her a lot, and then when I do go and see some things, I would also buy, for the,
Because
Yeah.
I'm just
Yeah.
relying on my mother for everything.
Everything, yes. Yeah, that's what moms are for. Moms are very important people.
Exactly.
Yes,
nice.
I mean, yeah. That's what, like you said, how I coped was exactly what you did, Margaret, waking up 5:30 in the morning. And,
Yeah.
My
sometimes,
goodness.
honestly, you go there, it's like a war zone.
Yes.
You see some things on the floor, but all of, like the pasta,
Yeah.
corn,
Yeah.
bread,
Yeah.
milk, certain
Yeah.
things, those things that long life milk, all gone. Honestly, I was like, what are we going through? So, but, we thank God for.
And eggs.
And
Eggs.
I was
Yes,
forever
eggs.
driving around.
Yes, that's right. And, my heart went out to the old people living on their own, who had physical health problems, who were not able to get out. I remember my neighbor, I remember going to knock on her door. She's elderly, and I think she's one of those that, that will not be able to go out during that period to buy something at that time of the morning. So when I knocked, she said she's okay, that her children visit and bring things for her, which was really comforting.
Oh, that's really good. Where I live, we had a WhatsApp group, a COVID WhatsApp group. So in the neighborhood, in the close, so lots of neighbors joined in and just, giving support, going shopping for, each other and things like that. So which is really, really good, just looking out for each other.
Very important, honestly, in these times, So a lot of people lost their loved ones. A lot of lives were lost. It was just, you read the news and you say 1,000 people in one day, 800 in one day.
Absolutely
A lot of
awful.
healthcare workers, of them. It was just unbelievable. So
complete tragedy.
Complete tragedy, never seen before, and hopefully never will it happen again. But the thing is, what have we learned? What lesson have we learned? And what are the government going to do about this? Who knows? What lessons do we learn from all these things that have happened? Caring for each other. Do you think we care more for each other, Jennifer, now than ever?
So from the lessons learned, from a personal experience, sometimes we take life for granted, right? We take our loved ones for granted. We take friends for granted. And not even that, we take our personal purpose in life for granted. We're scared of doing things. So this actually revealed the fact that life is not promised. You can wake up today, tomorrow the person is no longer there. So as a person, if there's something you want to do, go ahead and do it. Because you can keep putting it off. I'll do it tomorrow, I'll do it next tomorrow, I'll do it then you never know if you will ever get the opportunity to do it, because you don't know what tomorrow holds. We're only promised today. And with a virus like COVID, you just don't know what could potentially happen to an individual, especially they say with those with underlying health issues. And then with our loved ones, we just call them up and say, I love you. Or friend, I love you. Just those are the things that these are actually unveiled, that it's very important that there's that humanity in life. And it also showed it's always time and difficulties that reveals the resistance the character that we have, the humanity in us. It reveals compassion and humanity for those that have it. It reveals hatred for those that do have it. It just reveals who individuals or the community or the nation is in during these difficulties. So this time, even when you read the Bible says that it is, if you fell in the days of adversity, you were never strong to start off with. So it's this adversity that has shown the strength of different nations and the community, as well as the hatred
Yeah.
that is still there, racism
Yeah.
and all those things, you know. So it
Yeah.
has really revealed
Mm.
who we are as a nation and as individuals.
Thank you, Jennifer.
I
Thank
agree.
you. Yeah.
Mm.
Let me go back to you, Margaret. What lessons have you learned from this? We don't have much time, so just
Yeah, it's similar to what Jennifer's just said. I think it's letting your loved ones and your friends know that you love them and care for them, being more expressive about love, because you never know, they might be going out the door and then, you know, you don't know when you'll see them again or something terrible will happen. So I think lessons learned is about, you know, caring for your loved ones, telling them. I think sometimes we're not very good at sort of saying, love you, you know, but I find myself now, I constantly telling my friends and family that I love them, because you don't know what will happen. So I think that's the main lesson for me, has just been about being more caring, and also just realizing that this is going to be around for a long time. And you know, there's no point worrying about something I can't do anything about. I can only try and do it as I can to keep my family, friends safe.
Yes, that's great. What about you, Marion? What lessons did
Yeah,
you learn?
as I said, for me, like what Jennifer and Margaret have said, yeah, it's just, you know, realizing what is important in life and what isn't. And, you know, spending time with your loved ones, putting aside, you know, differences and just, you know, and living life. And also our health in general. I'd say that I think I take care of my health, but obviously because Black and Asian people have been more affected by this virus, I made sure that, you know, I, you know, do the right things, eat well, get my exercise, get my vitamin D levels up, and just generally taking care of myself. And you know, also telling my loved ones the same things, you know, get your exercise, eat well, and don't ignore little, you know, health conditions, you know. But yeah, just I really decided that moving on from now, I don't want to spend a lot of time on my own anymore. I just want to be with my family as friends as much as possible.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks, Marion, for that. Yeah, I think I echo what everyone said. Yeah, it's good to really look after ourselves. We'll be discussing lifestyle in, you know, other discussion groups to come, other panels, you know, what we do to keep ourselves healthy, how we extend self-love to ourselves as well. It's part of self-love, and how we look after our friends and family, saying we love you, and we're thanking God, you know, we'll be appreciative for what we have, that we're here today, you know, and thinking about all those people that have lost loved ones, the healthcare workers, the people from Black and Asian communities who have, you know, really, this COVID has affected a lot. And we just hope that everybody looks out for themselves and takes better care, you know. Physical health is extremely important, you know, so that we don't have any risk attached to it. We just keep safe. So on that note, I don't know if we have enough time to say, what did you miss most in the lockdown? I go to Jennifer, start with you quickly. One thing you missed most during the lockdown?
What did I miss most? I miss just getting up on Sundays. We used to go to church. First church, obviously, we used to go to church on Sundays, right? We can still do it, you know, thankful to God that we can do it online. But that fellowship and community, that we're continuing to carry that on. But spending a lot more time with family, because every Sunday we used to go to my mom's house. You know, my daughter gets to spend time with her Nana and her special Auntie Didi, you know, so just being able to, I've never been really one, I guess, as I get older, you know, to be going out that much, but just being able to go out as I would feel or want to, you know, just that restriction was what I missed. The freedom, there's always something as when someone restricts your freedom to do things when you want to do it.
Thank you very much. What about you, Margaret?
I think I missed missed having proper hugs for my family and friends. I really missed that, and I also missed traveling. Traveling is what I'm missing the most.
I can imagine summertime
abroad. loved
Yeah.
ones. Yeah, that's the big thing I think that I'm actually missing.
Yeah. And Marion, you, thank you, Margaret.
For me, it's the fact that I wasn't able to go where I want and when I wanted to, you know. So that was the thing for me. I'm not one that goes out a lot, but you know, just not being able to, you know, do what I want to do.
Yeah.
And obviously going abroad.
Even though I went to work just a few days in a week, I just missing family and friends, just getting dressed and going out, putting on makeup and, you know, and some of our parties and, you know, the party, somebody who does have a lot of parties is who? Margaret.
Hey, stop it now.
I know. So all those things, you know, giving hugs and so on. So those are some of the things really I miss. But thankfully we're here again. It's just for all of us to be very, very careful. And thank you.
Yes.
So yes. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed yourself today. And, yeah.
Been great.
Been good, yes.
Thank you very much. Yes,
Yeah.
thank you very much. We'll be doing that very, very soon. We have
And a big clap for you for being a frontline worker. Thank you for
Yes.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. We hope the government will recognize us and increase our pay.
I'll pay.
Yes.
I know.
Yes, we deserve it. All healthcare workers, key workers, we deserve it. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for joining my channel. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Yes.
Bye.
Thank you so much. Please subscribe to my channel. Don't forget, so that you don't miss any other videos coming in. And until next time, keep safe. Love you. Thank you. Love you. Love you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.